going to be talking about two words that usually make people go, oh, employee engagement. But actually what we're talking about here, as you said, Chris, we're talking about people. People are your most valuable asset. They're also probably your most expensive asset. And looking after your people is the most important thing you can do in your business. There's a reason why pretty much everybody today has talked about the people at the heart of your business. Whether you're looking at investment, whether you're looking at an innovation culture, whether you're looking at being an empathetic leader, and you know, were Simon's comments earlier about actually just being a human being rather than a human doing. People are at the centre of everything we do. And it's very easy to sort of kind of forget about that when you're running headlong at things. I talk a lot in my work about communication. I work with a lot of communications agencies who are brilliant at communicating outward. It's what they do, it's why they get paid, what they get paid for. But I ask them how they communicate with their people. How's your internal comms? And everyone goes, oh, yeah, no, it's a good point. No, I'm not very good at that. We're really good at pulling together. We're really good at being able to be together as a team, but actually, are we actually communicating properly together? Are we listening to each other? Back to Shola's brilliant talk earlier on. I suddenly realised I haven't got I'm assuming that's the widget, is it? How do we bring people together? How do we engage people? And I'm going to say to you today, and I'm hopefully going to show you, that actually employee engagement is the only way for you to be able to create sustainable business growth. As I say, employee engagement is often that, oh God, they're talking about that again. And for those of you who, like me, have been around this particular block a couple of times, employee engagement is often a way to hide bad news. When I worked in the event industry, I used to run employee engagement events. I remember running a particularly long session for another airline, Chris, not yours, whenever we went into a room and whenever we were talking to anybody and they were like, oh God, it's employee engagement again. What bad news are you trying to bury here? We're going to ask your opinion. We're going to ask you how you're really feeling, what you think you could do to change it. And then we're going to completely ignore you. And that's where employee engagement finished. But what's happening now is actually that we are suffering as a result of a lack of employment. Employee engagement. So I'm going to ask you, how many of you, quick raise of hands please, how many of you run a team, lead a team, run a business? So most of you have people who are looking to you for that vision that Simon talked about, for that drive. And you're all good people. You're here. You're here and you're learning and you're curious about making things better. How many of you? Oh, sorry, I'm going the wrong way now. How many of you do you think have an engaged team? What do I mean by engaged? A team where people are willing to pull together, where people feel a loyalty to you, where they understand why they come to work. Back to that Simon Sinek, that big why. They know why they come to work because you're hopefully going to pay them and it's going to pay their mortgage or their rent. But why do they care? How many of you, I'd love a show of hands, how many of you think that 50% of their team are engaged? 50% of their team love coming to work. Oh, that's a good number. 60%? Well, a few. If everyone's starting to do this, like there's bad news coming. I'm going to tell you now, there's a bit of bad news coming, and then we're going to come back up again towards the end. 70%. Anyone going to be brave? 80? Anyone going to go any higher than 80? Oh, I've got one hand now. One hand at the back. Where I'm coming to work for you, madam. Thank you. How about worldwide? How many people do you think are engaged worldwide or in the UK? About 7%. Any advances on 7? Sorry? 30%. 1-3. Yeah, I mean, not far off. 21% worldwide people actually agree that they are engaged at work. And in the UK, 9%. And we're not even the worst in Europe. 9%. If you think about the people who work for you, if you think that only 9% of them actually want to be there, how are you going to be able to grow your business? How are you going to be able to actually empower people, get people excited about what you do, get people excited enough for them to be able to tell your customers, your clients, about how brilliant your company is, to tell their friends, to be able to bring in their friends, talking in the break about recruitment and the recruitment problem at the moment. You engage your employees, they're going to bring their mates, all going to come in. I'm here on behalf of a company called Meraki House. And Meraki is a Greek word, and it means to bring part of yourself, your soul, your purpose, your passion into everything you do. And it's something we believe wholeheartedly, that actually if you can bring yourself, if you care enough to bring your whole self, without wishing to sound like an Instagram meme, to bring your whole self to work, then you are going to be able to bring that productivity, that excitement, and that energy to work. What happens when that doesn't work, though? It's not good news. If you follow the news, you're watching anything on LinkedIn, watching anything on social media platforms, you know about quiet quitting. We had the Great Resignation. Now everybody's too terrified that they're going to lose their job to leave, but they're doing that quiet quitting. Oh, my boss has given me some work at 4 o'clock, but I'm leaving at 5, so I'm just going to basically look busy. I'll probably be on TikTok or playing Candy Crush. Just doing the bare minimum, doing what you need to be able to keep the bills coming and to keep going through it. What happens when that happens is that you end up with people infighting. People are not talking to each other properly. You get drama, you get gossip, mistrust. People are exhausted. People can't be bothered to show up anymore. You end up then with that mistrust, you end up with siloed working. One team is supposed to be doing something, but they don't trust the other team well enough to be able to do it. So they're all kind of doing the same thing, but not particularly aligned. People miss out. People can't be bothered to come to work. Those people who are coming to work get more stressed because they're having to carry the load. You get burnout for those people who are there and complete disengagement from those who aren't. And your customers will know. You will lose your credibility. We all know this. We were talking at breakfast this morning about those companies where you walk in and you immediately know whether the people who are going to serve you care about their job. Are they going to go the extra mile? Are they actually going to be able to engage you and help you with whatever it is that you're wanting to buy, whatever you need from them? Or those who have not, are either inadequately trained or just don't really care very much. Where are you going to go? Where are you going to shop? And what's it going to cost you? What does it cost, this disengagement? I'm going to focus on one. I did tell you I was going to try and make this high energy, and I'm going to depress the crap out of you for a little bit longer, and then we're going to get back upbeat again. Look at staff turnover. Again, as Simon said, if you're not engaged, people are going to leave for an extra fiver. They're going to leave for any excuse to just sort of get out of there and go and do something more interesting. People leaving because of that costs you a lot of money. On average, it costs about £30,000 per person per year for every member of staff that you lose in recruitment costs. But what else are you losing out on? When you've handed your notice in, are you going to be pulling your weight? Are you going to be bringing your whole self to work? Hell no. You're losing the specialist knowledge of that person, not only how they do their job, but even the small things, the human things, like the fact that actually he's the only person who knows how to make the coffee machine work properly without it bubbling and gurgling, and that's the only thing that gets everybody else working in the morning. That human part. When everybody else is sitting around going, well, I don't know why I should be working because, Jim's decided he's put his feet up, so I'm going to do the same. Loss of trust within the team, loss of credibility with your clients. Again, we all know when there's something going on, don't you? If you're talking to one of your suppliers and you can feel it, something's not quite right. You know what, I might take my business somewhere else. What happens if that person is actually a really good key contact for a client? What happens if they take a client with you? That's going to cost a lot more than 30 grand, isn't it? Then there is the cost of recruitment. We often just think of the cost of recruitment as the cost of losing staff, but actually look at all of the other things. The new person is probably going to want more money because Jim's been here for quite a while and he's probably only just had pay rises in line with inflation. And then the new person's got to come up 3-6 months of actually time to actually be able to kind of get back on board and get up to productivity. So disengaged employees cost you a lot of money. But there is, I promise, there is hope. I'm a bit of a Lego nut. I absolutely love Lego. I do not like standing on it in the middle of the night when I'm trying to get from my room to and somebody's left it on the middle of the floor. But there is hope. Because actually what everybody has been talking about today, the reason you're here today is to be able to get that inspiration, to be able to get some innovation, some change, to be able to put people at the middle of what you do, to be able to kind of generate that love. That fifth revolution, we were talking again last night about AI being the fourth revolution, technology taking over. Actually, we are now in a place where people are taking back over. The importance of human connection, the importance of being together, being able to pull together as one, that importance is coming back up to the fore, and how important it is. Why is it important? Here's the good news, people. When you get it right, what happens? Is that people collaborate more easily. Shola was saying, actually being able to pull together and being able to collaborate together to be able to generate more ideas. Happier, more motivated staff. Who doesn't want to come to work and be happy? We'll talk about Simon Sinek. His name's come up a few times. My why, my purpose is to be able to do more of what makes me happy and enable other people to do the same thing. Why wouldn't you want to do more things that make you happy? Being able to actually create that stronger internal brand where people are so excited to come to work, where people kind of get it and they want to tell their friends and they want to be better with your clients, speak better to your clients, be able to kind of engage more with them. Safer workplaces. Statistics show, I can't say that word, that actually the more engaged your employees are, the lower your incident rate is. Whether that is in an industrial workplace or actually if that's simply in an office environment, it's a safer place to be, not only from a physical perspective, but also in terms of risk, in terms of people putting their heart and soul into what they do. Increased productivity, better customer services, higher revenue. When you engage people, you are engaging the motor that lives behind your business, lives behind your brand. When you are engaging people, you're setting flywheels in motion. You're setting a way of being able to generate energy in your business so that it's not just you. Yes, if you're leading the team, if it's your business, you've got to be the vision. You've got to be the person who is driving it forward. But you can't do that without any energy. Creating that flywheel, creating the energy is what creates brilliant teams, which creates brilliant businesses. But what does that look like? One of the first things and this has come up a few times today, is about trust in the workplace, relational trust, psychological safety. Google did a project about 10 or so years ago called Project Aristotle, and they looked at the highest performing teams across Google, and they worked out what the highest the common factors were. And there were lots of very simple things like they had the adequate training, they had the right tools for the job. The most important thing that came out was psychological safety. Do people feel safe in their environment? Do they feel safe to make a mistake? Do they feel safe to have a connection? Do they want to be able to show up, try something new, innovate? And the highest producing teams had that psychological safety. How do we create that? How do we create that flywheel? What does better look like? This flywheel is effectively that study put into a flywheel. And as with all flywheels, if they're not spinning, they're not doing anything, they're not generating any energy. Those people who are showing up to work, they know what it is, they know the job they have to do. They are aligned because you've told them what to do. If they show up and they do their job, that all you're doing is sitting down between 3 and 4. And if you imagine that flywheel is just sitting doing this, it's stagnating. It's not creating anything, it's not creating any momentum. But actually, if you get people brought in, if you get people engaged, you start to get that flywheel moving, you start to get the energy in the room again. Where does it start? It starts with communication. As we start at the beginning of the day, it starts with communication, open, honest communication, active listening, speaking to people, listening to what they have to say, actually actioning it, sometimes, I'm going to come on to that, but being able to create an environment where people trust each other, where people understand each other's job roles, they understand how each other works. One of the biggest lies is that we tell ourselves is that everybody thinks like us. We really don't. We think very, very differently. We have completely different priorities in life. So, whether that's people who are present-focused, who need to build slowly on things, or those who have the vision, those who have a better way of seeing the future, or a different way of seeing the future. Even that is a huge gulf often between where are we now and where do we need to be. Being able to properly communicate builds relational trust, builds psychological safety in the workplace, which then means that you can introduce true alignment, actually getting people behind the why, getting people behind the vision, where people actually give a crap about coming to work. Then you get to execution, actually delivering, doing the job that you are supposed to do, doing the job that people are paying you for, which means that you can increase capacity, because the better you are, the more effective you are at doing the job that you do, the more you're going to grow, the more your people will grow, the more your revenue will grow, revenue grows, the more your business grows. And the faster this flywheel spins, the more energy there is in your business, the more sustainable that energy is as well, the more able you are going to be able to push forward through the pitfalls, through the weird bits that life throws at us. So we know why, but what do employees actually want? We've learnt quite a lot today about how employees want something different these days. People used to show up to work to get paid. You wanted to be trained and get paid. We used to have different communities. We would have the church or the golf club, or our old school friends who are our community, who are our support. And then we went to work to get paid. We had our family. These days, people come to work and they are expecting you as their leaders to be all of those things, to be friend, to be boss, to be coach, to be parent. That's a lot to hold. It's a lot for you guys to hold. But actually, by being able to talk to each other, by being able to listen, to hear what people have to say, and actually being able to bring that purpose into the work that you do. People don't come to work to earn a living anymore. They will choose where they work if their values align with yours, if they care enough about what you do to be able to show up on those days when nobody wants to come to work, where you actually have a connection with people, where people feel valued, where people feel heard. But how do you do it? So a lot of these themes have come up a lot today. This is good. This means we're all talking about the same thing in the same way. We're all doing the right thing. We just need to do more of it. So connect. Connection, proper true connection is what we do best as human beings, and is what we really need as human beings. If you look at Maslow's hierarchy of needs, that feeling of safety and security is really important. Being able to communicate, being able to collaborate together, listening to people, what people say, actually really listening, and being able to decide with them whether that's actually the right way to go. Inspire, this is where our vision comes in. This is where it's really important to be able to communicate what you care about. and make sure that they care about what you care about. If they don't, they're probably in the wrong organisation. You want people who are going to be able to work together with you with these things. Challenge. So yes, it's really important to be an empathetic leader. It's really important to listen. But it's also really important to actually question and say, I don't really think that's right. Doing pulse surveys, for example, actually getting an understanding of what people want, what people need. That doesn't necessarily mean that their answers are going to be the way that you want to go. It doesn't necessarily mean that their answers are right. But being able to have those conversations and have those difficult conversations and say thank you. I really appreciate what you've done. I really appreciate what you said. We're going to do these things right now. They're brilliant ideas. We're going to do these later. And these things, you know what, we're not going to do. And this is why we're not going to do it. Engage people in that challenge. Engage people in actually why you are doing what you're doing. Having the difficult conversations, something that we really don't enjoy doing, but actually it's the only way that we're actually going to get to grow. Speaking of growing, equip them for the job. Sounds simple? Make sure their computer works. Make sure that the stuff they have is actually the stuff they need. Train them in the here and the now. I've worked in organisations where you were expected to have training that they needed you to have, but they weren't going to pay you to do it. Well, how's that going to work? If you haven't given me the tools, how am I supposed to do the job? Equip them for the job they have, but also show them their own path. Show them their own path within your organisation. Show them what the possibilities are for them, to be able to engage them, to be able to let them understand that they have a future and that their future could be your future. The other great thing about career progression is having the confidence to show people that actually sometimes you want to be able to grow them so that they will actually leave you. That whole thing about if you love someone, set them free. The same works with great employees. The best employees are those who you train, who you empower, who leave you. Because the chances are they will either come back again, or if they've gone to set up their own business, they come back as clients, or they come back and tell other people how brilliant you are. If you love them, train them and let them go if they need to. And back to this point that we've come back to over and over again. As leaders, looking after people. Again, another Google project Oxygen this time, looked at what makes the best managers. And again, the top thing that came out was this idea of manager as coach. Looking after your people, listening to your people, understanding what they need, and making sure that that's aligned with the values of the business and where you're going as a business. If you're able to engage your employees, they will fight for you, they will work harder for you, they will help you build, they will help you grow, which is the only way to build a sustainable business. Thank you. If you guys would like to know a little bit more about some more tips, some more interesting ways that you can build this into your business, please drop us an email. Team, we are one team at Meraki House, and we will send you some information through. Please come and find me on LinkedIn. I am all about connection, so please come and say hello to me. If you've enjoyed what I've said, if you disagree with what I've said, I'd also really love to hear from you. Support and challenge are equally important. Thank you very much. I think it's time for a coffee.